Igbo unity is very imperative. It is very important that we go back to the message of Igbo unity based on what is happening now. What is happening? The Igbos in the west bank of the river Niger, known as Anioma people, a political nomenclature not overshadowing their Igbo cultural identity, are currently on the spotlight for good and for some controversial reasons. First, there have been a request, a clamor for the creation of Anioma State by Igbo people who live at the west banks of the river Niger. This quest started around 1951 when the Ojiba of Asaba, Honorable Chief Dennis Chukwude Osadebe, in alliance with his Igbo brother, who is a son of Ezechima and Enuane man, Honorable Chief Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe Yowele of Onitsha, join hands together to say, we will like to have our own separate, unique identity as Anioma people. Then, Onitsha was part of the place envisioned for this quest for the creation of Anioma State. In fact, the name Anioma was coined by Chief Dennis Osadebe, the first and only premier of the then Midwestern region. It is interesting to note that around 10 years after clamoring for Anioma, we were given the Midwestern region, and Dennis Osadebe was handed that Midwestern region to be its first premier. Incidentally, its only premier, because the region was later dissolved when we went into having states and not regions. During this period of clamoring for Midwestern states, Chief Dennis Osadebe, Dr. Michael Okpara, and so many other prominent in the Igbo went around the whole nook and cranny of Midwest to solicit for votes, to ask people to vote during the referendum. And in the end, it was actualized. A plebiscite was issued in 1963 after the referendum. In fact, it is the only region in Nigeria that was created through a legitimate legislative process until it became Bendel State. This region had more than 10 different ethnic nationalities in it, but the Igbos were the largest in number. We had the Benis there, occupying just 3 local governments. We had the Esan people, the Igbos, the Shekiris, the Ijos, the Urobos, the Isokos, all the Esan people, all in this Midwestern state. And we live together harmoniously. But then, the Igbos continue to clamor for their own separate state. Thank you, my brother from Kenya. Are you a Luo? Please let me know in the comment section. Are you Luo? I mean, I'm talking to you, Stella. Are you a Luo? Because the Luos and the Igbo have relationship, but that's not the topic I'm going to discuss now. So these, our brothers in Western Igbo land, known as Anioma people, began to clamor for their own separate state. Wow, Stella, you are Luo. The Luos and the Igbos have so many similarities in language and in culture. For instance, there are names in Luo that are the same in Igbo. I know you people have names like Ojukwu in Luo, and that's an Igbo name, a prominent Igbo name. So many other names that are the same in Luo, because I've done a video documentary on that. It's nice to have you on board. You're welcome. Please, if you're just joining us, kindly double tap this video to give it a thumbs up, and if you are not yet a subscriber, kindly go to our channel and hit the subscribe button as well as the notification bell, so that when we come online and do videos, you will be among the first set of people to see the video. So when Midwestern state was turned to Bendel State, we became Ndi Igbo Bendel. Until later on, we now have Delta State. In Delta State, we were regarded as Delta Igbos, occupying 9 local governments out of 25. So the Igbos in Delta have the largest number. We occupy 9 local governments. Ika South, Ika Northeast, Anyocha South, Anyocha North, Oshumili South, Oshumili North, Ndokwa West, Okwani, and Ndokwa East. Now, 9 local governments are of the Igbo speaking people. We identified as Ndi Igbo. We identify as Ndi Igbo until a slot was created to make up the number for our marginalized Igbo brothers in the Southeast. Marginalized in what sense? Because people always say we are crying marginalization. If we were not marginalized, if there was no substance to the matter, the case would have been rested a long time ago. But there is meat in the matter. Meat in the sense that as Ndi Igbo of Southeast, we have just 5 states. Whereas the Northwest, the North Central has 7 states. Most people think it is 6. I have always maintained this. Abuja is a state on its own. Not say we have 36 states and the Federal Capital Territory. That Federal Capital Territory receives more allocation than so many states in the country. So it is a state. So North Central and North West has 7 states, while others have 6. And then the presidency decided that we must make up this imbalance. Some people think it doesn't matter. It matters. Just one senator. If you think one individual doesn't matter, lock yourself up in a room with one mosquito and tell me how it went overnight. So just one senator, just like one senator in Delta North has been distinguishing himself as Onyi Igbo. When Mazen Nandekano was arrested, he was on the TV speaking out that this is injustice. The same way Naya Baribe has been a lone voice all through. Now he has Senator Ned Nwoko supporting him. Same way, if we have more 3 or 4 senators in the National Assembly, it will make our voice louder. If there's also a vote, we'll have more number of people voting in our favor. Where other regions have 6, it was just outrightly wrong to give us 5. So they decided to have 1 extra state in the Southeast. And there were propositions for Etiti State, there were propositions for Ada State, there was proposition for Anioma State. And after the meeting of the National Assembly Committee on State Creation in Lagos, it was decided to have 1 state extra in the Southeast. If there's only 1 state that will be created, it will be in the Southeast. And so they resolved to support the creation of Anioma State as an Igbo state. As an Igbo state. If Delta State is split into 2, Anioma State goes to the Southeast. The Southeast will have 6 states, while the South remains its 6 states. Everybody comes at par until the federal government decides to make everybody 7. But for now, it is just 1 slot for the Southeast. And then people started supporting it. We, the Igbo unifiers, we even held a conference. We have been doing sensitization, telling people about Igbo unity. And then it got to the important point where some members of the Anioma political community, some members of the royal class started coming out on TV to disassociate themselves from our southeastern Igbo brothers and sisters, our kids and kin. That is what brought us to where we are today. If you're just seeing this video, kindly double tap it to give it a thumbs up. We have over 85 people watching. Please double tap to give this video a thumbs up. If you are not yet a subscriber, also kindly go and subscribe quickly. So, when these people started disassociating themselves from Ndi Igbo, it is natural. You will ask yourself as an Igbo person, why are they rejecting me? The person rejecting me, is he or she better than me? How is Anioma better than Igbo land? We are one. Is there anything we have that the Eastern Igbo people do not have? Is there anything they are suffering from that we are not suffering from as Ndi Igbo? We are facing the same challenges in this country called Nigeria. My name is Ngozi Chukwuka. If there's any type of marginalization against Ndi Igbo, I receive it double dose. the same way an Igbo person will receive it. So how did we get to the stage of creating a state and some people started feeling that they are better or superior or they don't want to be associated with? In the city of Asaba becomes quiet if Onitsha becomes quiet. The two cities are conurbated both spiritually and physically. If your vehicle breaks down and you need to buy an item from Onitsha on Monday, know that it won't happen because there's a seat at home. Your mechanic will tell you that outrightly. The two cities function pari passu. I mean now, that is how it has been. So how did we start having a divide? And then we saw traditional rulers coming on TV to say they don't want to have anything within Igbos of the Southeast. They want an Anioma State that is just within the South-South geopolitical zone. We started seeing the political class. And then recently, day before yesterday, the worst happened. Where state assembly members of these 9 local governments came out and signed a document saying that historically they are not Igbo. They don't want to be associated with Igbos of the Southeast. All the names of the people who signed this document are Igbo names. All the LGA chairmen signed their own, said they don't want to be associated with the Southeast. And I started asking questions. Why? Because I am not somebody outside the system. I'm also in the system. So I asked questions. What is the reason why? Then I found out they said they are trying to make the capital in Olo. That's why. And I asked, why will they also make the capital in Olo? The explanations were very valid. The explanations were very simple and straightforward. The proposal was for Asaba to be the capital. I even saw the document stating Asaba as the capital. Until they said the Asaba people started rejecting their Igbo identity, that they don't want anything to do with Igbo people. How will an Igbo man have a slot? Because it is an Igbo slot. It is a southeastern slot, let me put it that way. It was given to you. And you say you don't want anything to do with the person who is given to you. How do you mean? So it was natural for them to withdraw their slot and also carefully place it in the southeast. That is what happened. And that is where we are now. We are now at a stalemate. Please, if you're just seeing this video, kindly give it a thumbs up. We have 220 people watching actively. Please give this video a thumbs up. So it is natural for the people who own the thing to say, no, keep it in my backyard, let me see. And then they are now kicking. So some people would rather not have an Anioma State at all than have it in the southeast. What manner of callousness? What manner of wickedness? What manner of forgetfulness? Everything the Igbo people are going through today, was occasioned by the actions of Anioma people. How did Anioma people cause Ndi Igbo pain? And when did it happen? Let's cast our minds back to the Ekumeku colonial resistance struggle. When the Royal Niger Company of the British came to Nigeria, they docked in Calabar, they docked in Asaba, making Asaba the administrative head all over the region, the protectorate. Asaba was the administrative head. In fact, Mongo Park House in Asaba is still there. It is an ancient house, now a museum. That's where he lived and administered over Nigeria. So there was high-handedness on the part of the people who were administering this Royal Niger Company, and the Enu and the people resisted them, Igbos of the Western Niger. It didn't stop in Enu. This resistance called Ekumeku war lasted over 32 years. You can browse it in the internet and find out what I'm saying. Over 32 years. Ekumeku is spelled E-K-U M-E-K-U. Ekumeku. We call it Ekumeku, but it is spelled on the internet Ekumeku. Find out about it. So many white men that were listed out, not speculation. Their list was given out. So many of their captains and generals who helped them to conquer other African nations were wasted on the floor, on the soil of Anioma. Obaraha bafuru na la Anioma. Halalondo ha n'iyi na Anioma. And then one day, after 32 years of resistance, remember it took these people just 4 days to conquer Benin, 4 days to conquer the mighty kingdom of Benin, carry all their artifacts, snap pictures very well with it before they carted them back to their place. And they are still there today. They are just repatriating some of them one after the other. But not even the ivory. They have already sold all those ones. But Anioma people resisted them for a total of at least 32 years. That's the longest anti-colonial resistance struggle in the history of mankind. These people lost prominent sergeants. If I had my other phone, I would have been reading out the names of the sergeants that they lost and all the top-ranking military officers within these 32 years. Until one day Nzekwe the Obi of Ogwashuku, they called him head chief, decided to surrender. Guess what? When Nzekwe came to hand over to surrender, he came with over 200 men. These things are documented in the British Gazette. Not me just saying. Over 200 men when he appeared. Even the letter they wrote to Lagos to say, this man should be made king of Ogwashuku, when he was made king. And that was how Ekumeku battle started dying down. The headquarters of Ekumeku, which is Ubunuku, they set up 2 giant secondary schools there. They started with 1 big primary school in 1914. I'm telling you history as it is. The British, after a few years, that around 1934, the Aba women's resistance happened. The Udi massacre happened in Enugu. Then in 1967, January, Ifa Jona, who is from Onitsha and Enu a person, and Chukuma Kaduna Nzogu, who is from Okpanam, led the January boys to topple the government. Remember what we had before independence is called British Nigeria. You can check history. Check the biography of Emmanuel Ifajona. You will see he was born in British Nigeria. They call it British Nigeria. So the British Nigerian government documented Ndi Igbo, blacklisted Ndi Igbo as people who are Ndi Sinko, people who are prone to rebellion because of the activities of Ndi Anioma. And a few pockets of activities are listed, like the Aba women's resistance and the Enugu bloodbath that happened in the mining site. The British Nigerian government blacklisted Ndi Igbo in Nigeria. I'm telling you the facts. So they handed over power to Northerners. Whenever you hear Ndi Igbo saying power was handed over to the North, it is not a joke, it is true. They needed people loyal, people they can control, because they were after our resources. This is a business establishment, mind you, set up for administrative convenience. So power was handed over to Northerners, who were perceived as loyal, while we were perceived as people who don't follow order. Ndi Igbo were blacklisted on account of Ndi Anioma, the Western Igbo people. So today you see Anioma people saying they are not Igbos. They don't want to be part of Igbo. They don't want to be Igbos. They are on their own. They are a distinct nationality. After all, that there are different groups that make up Anioma. There are 3 prominent migrations that set up Anioma. These 3 prominent migrations are the people of Obolo clan, the Obolo clan movement, the Ezechima clans, and then we have the Igala settlers in our midst. Settlers, I said, and then we have the Bini settlers. That's 4. Why I wouldn't call it 4 them was because Ezechima clan and Obolo clan people are Igbo origin people. The Igala people are just about 3 communities that lay claim to this Igala origin. Ebu, Ela, and then people of Oko. Now these settlers bore Igbo names, practice Igbo culture. The ones who did not were assimilated by our people and welcomed back here. Somebody will say, what about the Yoruba speaking people? It's just the Olukumi people who are in Anyocha North that speak Yoruba, but today they are Igbo. Fully assimilated. They were assimilated by our ancestors. Because one thing you will never take away from Igbo is our hospitality, our ability to welcome strangers and make them feel at home, while our own people cry and struggle and beg for recognition. We treat strangers as if they are kings. So welcome Ndi Olukumi, who call us our friend. My friend is Olukumi, while we call them Ndi Okonzo, and today they are Ndi Okonzo. That's what they are. Please double tap on this video to like it. Over 300 people actively watching. Please also share the video to your audience. So how come these people of Anioma started saying we are not Igbos? Let's examine the Igbo-ness of the Anioma people. In the whole of Anioma, every community in Anioma, not one exempted, we speak a version of the Igbo language. I saw an ignorant post, over 2,000 words article written by a person who has PhD, but is still stupid. How is he stupid? Okay, this person said that if you come to Anioma, that he lives in Abo, and that in Abo, he doesn't even fully understand their language. He's still struggling to understand Abo dialects. And then somebody from across the Niger, whose only interaction with Anioma people may be his interaction with Ibuzo, Asaba, Obanam, and he thinks he understands our language. That our language is very, very deep, that even him from Asaba cannot fully understand Abo dialect. I said, what? Is this how ignorance can be? Has this person gone to Owerri? In Owerri, the Okigwe person speaks differently from the person from Owerri zone. The person from Owerri zone speaks differently from the person from Umbise. The person from Ongwa speaks differently from the person from Aba. The person from Aba speaks differently from the person from another place. The people of Uturu speak differently from the people of the next 3 communities near them. Similarly, if you go to Anambra, the person from Oguta and Onitsha speak differently from the people from Iyala. It's as simple as that. The people from Nsukka, when they go deep in Nsukka, you may struggle to understand what they are saying, but they are speaking a version of the Igbo language. What about people from Ebonyi and then some parts of Enugu? The 5 states that you're seeing, that people say go to your 5 states, is a sign of how backward, how Nigeria's education system continue to churn out idiots in the society. Look at Omorodion. Omorodion, let me address your stupidity. Now, there are 5 states that the Igbo people live in, right? In these 5 states, all of them speak Igbo. But across the 5 states, there are more than 13 states where people speak Igbo, including your Edo state. The Ibanke people are Edo state. I just released a video 2 days ago of over 20 Igbo words in Bini language, showing you that Bini Kingdom, as founded by Oromian, was occupied by Indibo. It's still occupied by Indibo. So there are Igbos in River State, Cross River State, Kogi State, Akwa Ibom State, River State, Ebonyi State, Edo State, Delta State, all these peripheries, Bayelsa State, they have Igbo speaking people in them. A nation which is like Igbo nation can exist across even state boundaries. Yesterday evening, go to our channel, you'll see the video. I posted a video of our Igbo people in Jamaica who have never been to Nigeria once. They speak Igbo. Now I'm going to bring out 3 important words in Jamaica language that are Igbo words. The word Ono is already very popular. Everybody knows that the word Ono, as we say Ono, to refer to you or you people, is an Igbo word. Similarly in Jamaica, Ono is used to refer to you all. The word so, only you, so, only, just, is the same way it is used so in Jamaica language. That's the second word. So there are great similarities between the Igbo language and the Jamaican language. Great similarities between our language in Igbo land. And in the video that I posted, I wasn't the one talking. I put videos of Jamaicans speaking their version of Igbo language. They call it Jamaican patois. In their patois, they were picking out Igbo words. And do you know what amazed me the most? That these people cook okpa. Can you beat that? That they cook okpa. The woman posted a video of a okpa that her grandmother cooked. That was why I really knew that this wasn't a joke. Prominent people like Buju Banton has come out to post his ancestry DNA test. This is a modern era. People are no longer having identity crisis and complaining, my grandmother did not tell me. Go and do your ancestry DNA test. Post your result, let the world see. People are doing so in faraway Jamaica, Haiti, North Carolina, Gabon, Equatorial Guinea, even in some parts of Kenya. So a nation can exist across country boundaries, not to talk of state boundaries. State boundary is too small. So I am an Igbo man in Delta State. When you say Igbos go to your 5 states, you are a joke. Because if Omorodion, like your name sounds, you are from Edo State, Ibanke people are with you there, they are Igbos. My friend Chinedu, OJ, is from Ibanke. He's from Mbidi in Ibanke. And anybody who listening to me now who is an Igbo person know there is Mbidi in Imo State. And the Ibanke people, Mbidi in Ibanke is the same with Mbidi in Imo State. We're looking at the Igbo-ness, how Igbo are the people of Anioma? That's what I want to examine. Now, in every Anioma community across 9 local governments, we host one annual event called OFAC, Organization for the Advancement of Anioma Culture. And we host this every year, usually around Easter period. So, the Mbidi people in Ibanke are the same with the Mbidi brothers where they migrated from in Imo. The Olije people, they call them Olige in Ibanke, are the same with the Onije people in Ubuluku, my hometown in Delta State. Igbo Gofu. How Igbo are these people? Because somebody will say, you're just making claim. You're just making claim. Igbo want to take over everywhere. You want to dominate everybody. Let's begin with their market days, okay? The 4 market days in my community and every community in western part of Igbo land, which is Anioma, have Eke, Olie, Afo, and Onko. These are the Igbo 4 market days beginning with Eke. It is the same in every Igbo community, whether you are in Delta, Edo, Rivers, Cross Rivers, Akwa Ibom, everywhere, including Bini. In Bini, the 4 market days are Eke, Oye, Aho, and Oko. Is it not funny to you? So those are the 4 market days in Benin, in Edo language, as they say. So during OFAC every year, this Organization for Advancement of Anioma Culture Conference, a cultural festival, every community in Anioma will speak their own distinct Igbo dialect. We don't use English. Either Swasusu Igbo. In fact, on go for ye gwanim beni ofumbos sem nge memenyo onyinyo ni memepusha mobambo na asụsụ Igbo ka onye ọbụla nwe ike na-eso ka onye ọbụla dị carried along na asụsụ Igbo ndị iwe dịka ndị dịka ọmụrụ dị ọwa ama nwe ike toye na ya ọnụ ama wọcha nye ekwu mana nsoma asụsụ Igbo onye ọbụla aka ma asụ welue ntị anị na wa anụ nye asụ. Thank you, my brotherhood boy. It's nice to have you on board today. So, Nankama Osho, na asụsụ Igbo. No yo bonabo Igbo welue ntị anị. No ga anụ nye ekwu mana na asụ Igbo ndị iwe ndị dị ka ọmụrụ dị ọwa ga-abịa beni na asụ tọnụ na amụmara nye ekwu. Ọkwọnụ washa. So that is me speaking my own version of the Igbo language. If we speak it this way during OFAC, everybody follows. Nobody asks for interpreter. Even our Igbo brothers from across the Niger, when they also come and speak, nobody asks for interpreters. Nobody. Someone say, it was a louder Equiano. It was a Ajayi crowd that gave you people Igbo language. There was no Igbo. What you're talking about is Igbo Izugbe. Some people don't know how to speak Igbo Izugbe. What helped me, because my own language of N1 is closer to Igbo Izugbe, I made A's in all my Igbo courses in the university. Anytime I write Igbo exam, I will make A. When you Delta, how do you manage to write Igbo and get A? I will get A because I started from secondary school to study Igbo. The Igbo language, Igbo Izugbe. Igbo Izugbe is not my dialect of Igbo language. It is a centrally created language, like the Yoruba and Hausa. If I switch to my own dialect, if I code switch to my dialect, then say atawari asusu obolo. Makoyo obolo kembo. So, the Igbo people in the 9 local governments of Delta North, which are Anioma people, all speak Igbo language. They practice the 4 market days. They do circumcision Ibugu on the 8th day. We do naming Ipapashanwa on the 7th day. We do Ewaji in all these communities. We do Ibamanya, and interestingly, that's what we call it, Ibamanya or Ibanko. Our funeral rites are Igbo cultural practices. We believe in reincarnation as well. Some of these practices, some of them are universal, some are unique to Ndi Igbo, such as Itiyakwa Nimapati, when somebody is about to be buried. When you see somebody who is denying his or her Igbo identity, when the person is about to be buried, you will know their real identity. The Ishago people, my brotherhood boy, are from Oka. And when the Asaba massacre happened, it happened in Ishago as well. Even the king of Ishago was a casualty in the Asaba massacre. I hear and understand your Igbo completely, but I'm from Onitsha, across the Niger. Okay, you see, this he said across the Niger. That's the meaning of Onitsha. I say, Ndi Onocha. And that Onocha is that Ndi Onocha are across the Niger doesn't make them any less Enuani people. Because as I said, Oheze, or Reze, as some people call him, was the first son of Ezechima, but he died while Ezechima was still alive. So, because there was a squabble over who will take over the leadership of Ezechima, that they were upset and they decided to cross over to the other side of the river. But they are still in relationship with all Ezechima clans. I've seen photos of Iseluku, Obio people going to Onitsha and them coming to Iseluku and Obio and the AZ and the rest. They are the same people. Igbo Bofu, Igbo Bofu. So these are our people. The 9 local government chairmen in Delta North recently signed a document saying that they don't want to be joined to the Southeast. None of them held any meeting to consult with their constituents to say, what do you think? They just went and signed this document saying that historically they are not Igbo. And I laughed, even till tomorrow. The Delta State Traditional Rulers Council and Chiefs Gazette records all Anioma communities as Igbo people. I'm not saying some, all Anioma communities as Igbo. All, including some in Isoko as Igbo. Because back then, the identity crisis was not too much like this. Today, we have kings who are suffering from identity crisis. Please double tap on this video to like it. Please double tap.